motion that we second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? No. Okay, moving right along, we need to reapprove the October 2nd, 2024 planning board application, the Candidario site plan amendment. And the reason that we need to do that is because there was some question of Nicole's timing of her resignation from the board. So we want to make sure that the board tonight
Gotcha.
just approves that. So would someone like to make a motion that we reapprove
We approve.
Is that
Charlie?
pursuant to the original resolution? that was
Pursuant,
written?
yes.
Okay,
No changes.
Yep.
Okay. Teresa second. Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, very good. Moving on to the Conklin site plan. Do we have representation? Come on up, all of you. You can come too. Yeah, come on. We make it like the family dinner table, you know?
Good evening.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. So, why don't you give us a quick overview
Absolutely.
of what you've got? I'm not gonna open my map if you've got.
Yes, I got it out here, so if
Got
everyone
your
can see it, if not, I can.
Oh.
pass it around. Thank you for hearing this application. My name is Brett Shelley from the Associates, representing Greg Conklin, the owner and applicant of the project site. So we are requesting preliminary and final site plan approval for this project. It includes the construction of a single family home. It's located on the east side of Stony Ridge Drive between house numbers 88 and 120 Stony Ridge Drive. This is currently an existing vacant lot. The existing site generally consists of mature woods along the south edge of the lot. We do show the county plot for the timber harvesting protection overlay district on that. The home site and the proposed septic system are upland areas outside of the town depot areas. That's existing successive growth, brush, and few trees in that area as well. So that's kind of the basic environmental setting of that. The site will take access from Stony Ridge Drive across the road from an existing driveway. There's an existing hydrant right next to the proposed driveway. Driveway does meet site distance requirements and will have received comments from the town staff just regarding we're requesting to have that added map, so we will do that.
Okay,
So the site driveway does enter, goes down a fairly steep drive down into a bit of a valley. Within that valley, we have a couple of E-pods. We have E-pod. See, that's on my next page.
yeah, that's okay, we'll get to that, right?
Yes, we'll get to that, but just to bring it to the board's attention, there is an existing wetland out there. We believe that's a federal jurisdiction wetland. DME has performed a field site delineation of that. And the proposed driveway is actually proposed to thread the needle between two portions of that. So it's across the stream where the wetland doesn't exist. It's on either side of that. So we do not anticipate any Army Corps of Engineers, state DEC wetland permit for any disturbance within that area, so we'll be able to stay out of that. The proposed culvert can be installed within the stream based on a nationwide permit. Doesn't need specific individual permit coverage for that. It's covered under the nationwide. And approval for that, no necessary approval is required for that, as long as you install that culvert for the Army Corps guidelines or requirements for that. So that includes basically a natural bottom culvert that's installed within that swale. Single family home, it's approximately 295 feet from the roadway. It'll be served by public water connection for an individual service for that. Private wastewater treatment system, septic system for that, and then the house is approved through the town. Flip our page here, talk about stream crossings. As far as the environmental protection overlay districts, EPOD number 3 is a water course protection overlay district. EPOD 7 is a woodlot timber harvesting protection overlay district. EPOD 9 are soil susceptible to ponding. All of them are shown on the submitted plans, and the applicant is requesting permit approval from the planning board through the site plan approval process for the development installation of the driveway, which would be installed within that area. And that is the only permits that we'll need on that. We're not touching any of the existing trees within the woodlot harvesting protection overlay district. It's just for these susceptible ponding overlay district and then water course protection. So the plan does take into account the town's requirements for development within those areas. We've reduced as much disturbance within that area as much as we can. Our slopes, we did get a comment about the slopes are proposed at about a 3-on-1, however, twofold with that. One of them is we want to give as much buffer for any disturbance to the water course protection overlay district and the street level. So with those slopes, we can do that. And then in order to mitigate that, we have proposed stabilization measures, including an erosion control blanket on those slopes that are greater than 4-on-1. So the plans do take into account those natural resources and ways to mitigate or offset the disturbance in those areas. The plans include a construction and erosion control. Flip it over. Construction and road control plans have been prepared. They've been prepared based on the DEC's requirements. The site will disturb over 1 acre of land, so it is required to get DEC stormwater permit coverage on that. However, the site doesn't qualify for any post-construction measures to be installed. So the basic erosion sediment control plan is all that's required by the DEC to carry out the development. The project will require review and approval by the Monroe County Water Authority for the water service installation, and also Monroe County Department of Public Health for approval of the septic system. Both of those agencies have received plans and applications on this project, and we've received comments which we're going to be responding to and updating the plan based on their minor technical comments and received along the way. Again, we have received comments from town staff and the town engineer. We provided written responses on October 10th, I believe it was, to the town to each of those comments. I'm sure if any of the board members have received those. Mostly technical comments, nothing that really scares us too much. We're pretty comfortable and feel that we'll be able to address those adequately with the town.
Did we have their response to the MRB's concerns in our paperwork here?
Yes, I believe you should have all the comments from all parties.
Take another quick look here. Oh. I think I have that. I just have to find it here. There we go. Oh, thank you, sweet. You sure you don't need it? I'll just cover over it. Okay. No, all right, so, let's ask our, engineer. Are you, were you satisfied with the, response from, to your comments from, BME?
Yeah, just to clarify, that stream isn't classified in any way either, right?
It's a Class C stream.
Okay, it's Class C. I think if we could just add add a label for that, and its identifier number.
Sure.
That's for liquors as well. I don't.
You
have
think
any
everything
real additional
that, so their, comments were, your comments were answered
Yes,
to your satisfaction?
yeah, everything. There's on future submission, but have any other comments?
And how about, Teresa, what would you like to, add or comment on?
To talk about the driveway real quick. I see why you have it laid out the way you do. It's unfortunate that you can't get it to be perpendicular to the road, but I know it's the grading makes it look crazy. But I think there was a comment that it was not a 10% slope, but to me, it looks like it is, because they're 2-foot increments, but they're like more than 20 feet apart. Is that correct? Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, I could give you a scale. Like,
I see it right here. You've got it graphics, yeah.
typically, we try to keep them at a maximum of about 8%, 10 or 12, I believe, is allowed for state fire code, but
I think our code says 10%, which I think you have, and if you haven't, maybe you could just call that out as 10% maximum. slope.
absolutely, yep.
And then, I think one of the comments was to add the finished floor of the house, which you can add that probably.
Absolutely.
And then for your, is there a basement here?
There will be a basement.
Is there a walkout or anything like that? planned?
No walkout.
So just an egress with no,
Yeah.
you don't have to change the grading or anything for that. That's all I have. Okay, how about,
I'm just wondering if, your driveway is, looks like it's nearly 300 feet, or you're gonna wanna bump out someplace along the way.
We did receive that comment. Fire code does require it, for driveways over 500 feet. We have provided a safe turnaround area at the end of the driveway that meets the fire code for that emergency vehicle turnaround. However, we didn't add the bump out, just, basically because it didn't qualify for the state code.
Yep, you're right.
is our local code 300 feet though for that, or am I reading that, remembering that?
Just thought with the configuration. Although this straightaway here does really not lend itself to a bump out on either side.
Right, and it's so steep.
Our ECB, did you review the comments from the ECB where you
I
provided those from
don't
the
believe I've
Environmental
received
Conservation
those.
Board? You did not, okay. So, they commented that, the driveway culvert, that the drainage area, what drainage area was considered when designing the culvert? How far upstream was evaluated, the provided rational method calculations only covered the application parcel. Was any adjustment for climate change considered when sizing the culvert?
So we'll go to the drainage area considered for the culvert. There's approximately just under 40 acres of drainage area that actually starts on the other side of Pond Road. So we did review that drainage area that contributes to that, and we have received comment from staff, building inspector, as far as providing culvert calculations for that, which we're happy to do. And then climate change that we have not included climate change for the calculations on that. That's still a little bit new, even the DEC is kind of a little gray in that area for those through their stormwater design.
Okay, and you addressed the wetlands. The driveway design, let's see what you have to say about that. An increase in impervious surface compared to tying into Stoner's Drive was this to meet driveway grade requirements. What was the engineer's design intent of the driveway? The proposed driveway design has an increased impervious surface compared to tying into Stony Ridge Drive. Was this to meet driveway grade requirements? What is the proposed maximum grade of the driveway?
Yeah, without delving into that comment too closely, but I believe that he might consider there that might be directed to connecting straight up to the road, which that's just over a 4-on-1 slope, so it's too steep for a driveway. So yes, it was stretched out to take advantage of losing that elevation over that distance.
Okay. There's swales along the driveway with proposed check dams. Are these temporary or permanent check dams?
Those would be temporary through construction.
Okay, and they're the ones that are, the check dams that are near the home, are they temporary or permanent? Temporary.
All
All
of
of
the
them
check
are
dams that we
temporary.
have are, yeah, they're temporary just to meet the state's erosion sediment control requirements.
Okay, and then tree removal, he does say, as you did, although none of the proposed work falls within NEPAD 7, there will be mature trees removed in order to complete the project. For larger diameter trees, the ECB requests that the applicant or an engineer consider marking these trees on the site plans in an effort to save the trees that don't have to be removed. Are you,
Like individual trees, or we just give a grouping of them and we can say a limit of construction or a limit of disturbance in those areas. So essentially, the big trees that are gonna be removed are within this corridor coming through. There's one stretch where they have the overhead. We do have the limits of disturbance shown on there.
okay,
Would be helpful to see the trees on the site, the ones that are being removed at least.
and I think in his comment, let me just read that again, to mark the trees that are going to be removed, so, you know, I don't know how many of them there'll be. Is it difficult to put you know, a construction tape or something around them so that they're noted to whoever's coming in there that these are the trees and don't.
Oh,
put
yeah,
one next to it.
absolutely. Yeah, the field conditions when it goes to construction, then, yeah, all of the disturbance limits can be very well marked so that, you know, anybody that's gonna go in there and involve tree removal or grading, then we can have those identified through that limits of disturbance. So we could include on the, it would be easier to put on the plan that, you know, all trees to be saved or to be marked in the field.
Yeah,
prior
I
to-
think what they're trying to do is see if you can save any of those mature trees
Mhm.
with your design.
Yeah.
Which would be nice if you could. Also nice for your property, increase their property value probably. Have you considered that? Have you thought about that with your design?
Yes, I mean, actually, so the location of the driveway, the applicant does want to keep as many of those large mature trees between the home and the road, up there. So with that design, we've limited the grading as much as we can. So, you know, to still get acceptable side slopes through there. So yeah, I mean, it has been considered through that. Essentially speaking, anything that's within that limits of disturbance, there's gonna be grading around there just to get the house and site up to grade and then the septic system. So, there might be about 10 or 20, Greg, how many trees do you think
Yeah,
might be
I mean,
in an area that's,
maybe 10 or 20 in the area between those two. But the
Right.
reason we picked a lot was because of the shield that the mature trees gave us, and we wanted that privacy, so we don't want to touch anything other than no road access to it. So our plan is to leave all that and leave all this wild through this whole area, so from the road it blocks up the lot behind it. Because it opens up to like a nice, kind of like field area once you get through that line.
So, as we're talking about the EPADs here, the EPAD permit, with the site plan requires a public hearing, which I don't, tonight we do not have a public hearing.
okay.
So, I don't know, what's the time frame on, scheduling public hearings? Do we have enough time for them to come to the next meeting, or,
I believe it's what, 10, is it 10 days? I believe it's
We have
10
to be able
days.
to put it in the paper, so at least 2 weeks, 10 days, yeah. You could be in an, what are we
Next
at?
meeting's 11/6.
Like 20 days away, right?
Yeah, I think you could get on the 11/6 if we put it right in for this week.
Even though we have a public hearing.
And
Yeah.
usually site plans don't require a public hearing, but this is a special case.
Yeah, no, we can definitely get it in, because today's only the 16th. We can get it in. Can probably get it in tomorrow's paper if I asked nicely. But either way, even if it went in next week, it would be fine.
Mhm.
and, so I have a note here that it said that you were possibly waiting for the, Army Corps of Engineers permit relative to the crossing.
Yeah, so we have submitted the report for just our jurisdictional determination. Army Corps has not been able to come up with it. Site, they'll be out probably this spring.
So we need approval on that, right? Or at least a condition of that.
I imagine. And requesting a notice, and there was no jurisdiction from that.
Right, for the area. that we're working. Well, no, we assume that they're gonna take jurisdiction over the identified wetland. Is what it is, but we just need them to confirm.
Are you showing the wetlands? Have a break here where the driveway's?
They
being
do,
closed?
they do actually, that site, so you have wetlands and a stream out there, so the wetlands are the fringe areas around the stream, and then the stream is the stream, so, the stream doesn't technically classify as a wetland, that's no any disturbance that we're doing in that, is covered under that permit.
Works out perfectly.
Well, I would have liked a little bit wider for design,
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, the way that we have it now is we are not proposing the disturbance to the wetlands that are out there. And like I said, they're basically on the fringes on the banks of the stream, because it does get fairly flat down through there.
So the driveway is going where the stream is,
Driveway's going over the stream, yeah.
and MRB, you're okay with this, with the way the setup is designed relative to all the water around here?
Yeah. If it was hard delineate, if we did a hard delineation. I think you're probably over sized appropriately.
There's a culvert here
Yes,
Yeah.
well,
For the stream.
proposed, yes.
for the stream, yeah. So perhaps then. Before, I assume you're going to wait to construct over here until you get that delineation,
That's correct, yeah.
so then any approval would be conditional on that delineation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
But the-
there were some comments from, our, code enforcement officer. And let's just go through a few of the things to make sure that we've got, looks like most of them were, okay, but let's, just make sure we've got all of his concerns addressed. The finished floor elevation, you said you would note that. Road cuts and site distance at the intersection of all road cuts. You'll add
Yep,
those.
we'll add those to the.
Okay. Okay, show the topography beyond the property lines to the town standard of 200 feet. We will add that too. And driveway notes from the town design criteria where bridge or elevated surface is part of the fire apparatus access road. The bridge shall be constructed and maintained in accordance with, I don't know what AASHTOB HB 17 is, but
So that's a reference to bridges.
Okay.
We're not proposing a bridge. This is just the culvert. So, and I did have a little follow-up discussion with Mr. Gates on that. We understand what he's, essentially all he's really gonna be looking for with this is just culvert capacity codes, which we'll be providing them. But yeah, the ASHTO, it's a loading rating, I believe, for bridges.
okay,
I don't get into that much structural, but that's how far I got.
okay. Don't think he had too many other concerns here. So we do need to have a public hearing. I'm wondering if the EPOD permit should come directly from Corey or should we just do it as the planning board? Usually I have Corey issue the permits just because he works more closely with the design
You're asking my
and the
opinion?
follow-up. Yeah, I'm asking your opinion.
I think
I'm
since
sorry.
it's, since it's at the planning board, if you can handle it at the planning board, it'd probably be a little more convenient. But I think ultimately, maybe just ask Corey how he wants to handle it. And if-
Okay, well, we're not gonna be able to approve tonight anyway.
yeah, so ask him in the
we can ask
meantime.
him in the meantime how he wants.
I
to
think in the
handle
last
that.
few, we did issue the permits directly at the
Here,
planning board.
yeah,
My concern, and since we have a few weeks before the next one, is that before the next meeting, that the notes here, that water course protection overlay permit has quite a few standards on it. So I think what would make it most helpful to the planning board to consider that would be for you to respond to those standards in
Address
writing.
those things.
Yeah, one, for example, it's at 138-20 of the code. And then there are also standards for EPOD permit 9. I think it's at the woodland one. There's the wetland, and then I think it's the soils. There's the standards for number 9 are far less complex.
Mhm.
But if you could submit a writing to, ideally either the Corey or the code enforcement officer or the engineer would be able to comment on those standards by or at our next meeting. so that we could handle the EPOD permit if it was appropriate.
Okay.
There, otherwise perhaps we could just defer to Cory. But I think that's the best, it would be to get it in writing, get MRB and Cory to check it out, and if it's good, we could have it right into our resolution like we've done in the past.
I do see that we have a short environmental assessment form here. And
I'll just jump on this. I think it's a type 2 action, it's a single family home.
mhm,
I don't think we're gonna be doing secret on as a result.
no,
Yeah.
and this
Yes,
looks like,
we provided that for the board.
yep, and this looks. So,
I just had a quick question on
Yes,
how this is set up. Question 17, it says, will stormwater discharges flow to adjacent properties? And you said yes. Did you mean to say yes?
Yes, they do.
They do.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's, water flows to adjacent properties today, so it will today, it does today, and it will tomorrow.
Sometimes though you have neighbors that say, I never had any flooding on my property until this building came on
Yep.
site. So just be prepared for anything like that.
Absolutely.
I didn't
Yep.
see anything that was anything major that was literally spilling over. So that's why I thought it was a typo, but you're good with that. Okay.
hi. Anybody else have any other questions? No,
No.
no?
No.
Teresa? No? No? Okay, well, I guess. Hope you guys can come back in a couple weeks and we'll finish this up. I think we should be able to get everything done by then, and November 6th, you know? November 6th is our next meeting, so we'll be there. There we go.
Yep, and we'll get that information into Cory as soon as we can. So-
Okay, that's awesome. Hey, you know what, one more question.
Absolutely.
When would you like to start constructing, spring or?
Yes, spring,
If we could get machinery down, I know, I was
Yeah.
started months ago.
Oh, well, believe me, we built too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
If we could get equipment down there without disturbing that wetland or those trees around the wetland, we probably would have started already. Given the fact that we don't wanna anger the DEC before then, we're gonna wait until their approval, so probably spring.
Okay.
The moment that approval goes through, probably the following day.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. Okay, so we will see you at our next meeting.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
It's a beautiful spot. It's a charming road, isn't it?
I grew up sort of over there and running in Menor Pond, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much.
Congratulations.
Okay. Next item on our agenda is the Eltier subdivision on Cheese Factory Road.
Yeah.
And this is for a subdivision at 1117 Cheese Factory Road in Manatee Falls for a 2-lot subdivision on property located again at 1117 Cheese Factory Road. One of the parcels will have 51.9 acres and the other will have 10.4 acres. This was a public, this is a public hearing, so I'm gonna open the public hearing now.
Actually, before you do that,
Yes, before I, yes, I do need to do this, go ahead.
yeah, I think maybe heading towards doing seeker prior to opening and closing public hearings. for
Yes, and you
subdivisions.
did say that, and I'm sorry, I'm just, okay, so do you mind going through the seeker?
I think I had sent it out. I have the resolution in front of me. I mean, in some, it's a paper subdivision. There's nothing being proposed to be developed.
Correct.
So I don't think. The way it's set up is that the board doesn't find any,
Oh, here it is, I've got it right here. in front of
doesn't
me.
see any impacts because
Yeah,
it's,
it's
there's
got it.
nothing.
It does have a
proposed.
negative declaration,
Yeah.
so, I'm sorry, I did have it.
No,
So before, do we have to make a motion or an?
yeah, I had sent a
approval or-
resolution your way.
Okay. Of course you
You
did.
don't have to read it, but you can read the title if you want.
Okay, resolution for seeker determination relative to the application for subdivision of property at or about 1117 Cheese Factory Road. No development is currently proposed, it's an unlisted action. Based on the board's careful consideration and hard look at all potential environmental impacts of the application, including all documentary a testimonial and other evidence presented inclusive of information presented and discussed during the board's meeting, together with any input from the town, blah, blah, blah. We approve.
Negative declaration.
Negative declaration.
Alright.
Yes. So do we vote on that?
It's a resolution, you
It-
make,
we-
move it, it's just like any other.
Okay, would someone just
approval.
make a motion that we. I'd like to take a second, and all of us are that are in favor. Yes, okay. All right, so now we can open the public hearing. Is there any public that would like to be heard at this time? No public, so we will close the public hearing. Okay, so what do we got here?
I'll introduce myself first. I'm Mike Bogojeski with TME Associates. This is Rick Altieri's property owner.
Nice to see you again.
Thanks. You kind of mentioned a lot of it already. Rick's looking to subdivide off this eastern portion of the property. Whole properties around 60 acres. This is just over 10 acres that he's looking to subdivide off. And that's really it. We're not proposing anything like you mentioned. The lot itself was laid out so that it meets all the standards of the RA1 zoning district, so that way there's no meeting the big ones, the minimum one acre minimum lot
Mhm.
size, right? And setback and stuff don't really come into play because nothing is really proposed at this point. There are a few E-pods that, just like previous application, there are a few E-pods listed on the property. Most of them kind of correspond to, there's an existing stream that runs along this eastern edge of the property. Those all include wetland protection overlay districts, water course protection, soil susceptible to ponding. And then there is a steep slope E-pod, mainly in this, if you look at the plan that we had sent earlier today, I'll get to that, but there's about a blob of near the road of some steeper slopes. That is kind of it in a nutshell. The remaining property that's not be subdivided off to create this new parcel, existing house and ponds and all, that's all staying as is. There are, like I mentioned, the E-pods that are associated with the stream. There are wetlands that are mapped that are associated with stream, but all that basically staying as is, nothing really is happening. Does leave potential for somebody to do something later on, but nothing proposed at this point in time. We did get comments from town staff and MRB. We were able to go through and respond to those and make some plan revisions. One of them was requesting what we call the existing resources and site analysis plan. Basically, the request through the comments was to show topo across property, the existing contours, and show the line work for a lot of those E-pod areas, and potential house pad driveway location that could be, I'll call it, could be done
Possible, right?
possible. So that's basically what we called it. So we were able to email out those plans earlier in the comment response earlier today. So we noted a lot of that stuff on this new plan that we created that was in addition to basically the subdivision plat that was submitted originally.
Okay.
The subplat, we kept it simple because that's the one that gets filed at the county. That's just the line, the lot line, so to speak. But this plan shows a lot of the existing conditions on the property itself, just to kind of give some context of what's going on up there.
Did you have anything that you wanted to add to that? Any other questions or your questions answered satisfactorily?
Yeah, they responded to all the comments and added everything we have from the comments and the last time. Is that classified? The stream going down and it's
Mhm.
classified?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I believe it's Class C, but I know it's regulated,
It's gonna be
by
close.
DEC, there is some DEC wetlands. That kind of
Yeah,
corresponds
I
with
see that
street
delineated,
Yeah.
just my only other thing would be to add the class and street. I think it's to be, to your second answer.
Yeah.
It did, didn't it? So it's. The other side of it, it's over here.
So.
It
Yeah,
came
so the
before
forest-
us.
Right.
It came
Yeah.
before us before. Yeah.
So, yeah, I was gonna say that this, Rick also owned this portion that went out to Harlock Road previously, that we came here before the board a few years ago, I don't know how long ago it was,
Yeah.
but then,
At least a couple of years.
yeah. But that's since been sold off and.
Yeah,
nothing's
we changed it.
been built on it, I believe it's-
Change the property line. I
Yeah.
was thinking,
Wait a
I've lost my
second.
mind here.
No, you're not,
No,
no,
you-
no, you got it,
You're right on track.
yeah.
Chow Creek runs in here, they call it.
Yeah,
So you ordered Montones?
I do back here too, but I did over here,
Okay.
yes,
Mhm.
and that guy, that I sold you. It's on Harlem.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
will you be selling it in the future?
Yeah,
Is it your
good.
intention to possibly
Yeah.
be selling this also? I don't think, does anybody else? Do you have any questions? I mean,
No.
this is pretty straightforward, just this. Yeah.
Until such time as you want to building.
Do something, right?
Yeah, yeah, and we added notes on the plans that note that, any future development or anything proposed would require future site plan approval from the
Yes.
town. That was,
Right,
I know that was one of the comments that we got, just so it's clear.
so that it's clear.
Yep.
Um.
I'm not sure why, but I never, this is the first time I'm seeing this drawing. It might have gotten lost in my inbox. And I just have a.
Yeah, I
it
think
is-
he said
yeah,
he
we
just-
we sent them out today, yep, and then I brought some hard, I just dropped off some hard
There should
copies.
be a hard copy in your pile.
Oh, really? It'd be a hard copy.
Yeah, if you see our response, like, yep, right there.
Oh.
What's the 2, 5, what's the rule with the multiple subdivisions within 5 years? I'm trying to remember for realty subdivision, you know that offhand?
We just talked about this.
We did. Is this within there? I don't remember.
I thought it was two.
So the original one was a lot line adjustment, wasn't a full.
Oh, okay, it wasn't actual
Wasn't even
subdivision.
a full subdivision. yeah.
Gotcha.
So, because it was originally it was a separate parcel. And then,
We just moved the line.
and then shifted the lot line. over.
So this-
Yeah.
This is not implicating a realty subdivision, right?
It came up
Yeah,
with
yeah,
50
This
ideas.
is only- this is pretty much.
It's its own lot,
It's its own lot.
and it wasn't subdivided off that other lot we were talking about before. That was just the lot line adjustment. That was
I
here.
guess they're
Yep,
being
that's right.
recycled by now, but I thought.
Yeah, I went through that generation.
Thanks.
like, subdivision, you just change the property line, I don't need to. Quiet down the crew. It's fine.
And I'll just note to MRB, this is following up on our discussion previously. This is a nice way to address some of those issues we were talking about before.
For buildability.
Yeah, I like what we did here on this, so that it's not actually on the subdivision plat, because you're not actually proposing to put the house
Yeah.
there. It's a feasibility plan.
And so when, reading through the comments, like, that was the gist of what
Yeah,
I thought was you guys were asking for.
yeah, that's what we're.
Yeah, and to clutter up the subplat, with a lot of this info that is kind of background info, just for context.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little messy, so.
Well, that was part of the discussion is it an issue if we put on what's formally filed, a informal lot?
I don't believe that the county would care if you put the topo on the subplat, but not typical, so.
I like the approach.
Yeah, the kind of secondary, tertiary map, the
Mhm.
supplement map.
Yeah, exactly.
I just real quick, I know it's just a possible future location, but
Yeah.
driveway, just make sure it can't be more than, it has to be at least 10 feet off of the property line, which I think you have that.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know what that plus or minus 28 feet is even dimensioning to. I think a more important dimension might be to show that you have to have 10 feet you know, minimum from there.
Gotcha.
That
Oh,
way,
sure.
when they lay it out, they know.
Clarify that, yeah. But we did, additionally, so we set that new lot line to make sure it was 20 feet from the edge of the existing driveway. So the existing driveway to Rick's house is the west of that new lot line. Basically comes out directly across from Parker's Hollow Road there.
Yep, so you got that 20 feet from there, that's good, and
Yep.
then, and on the other side, it looks like you also have it, but,
Yeah.
because it's, it could change and be, I would maybe say 10, give the dimension
The
and
minimum,
maybe say
minimum.
10 foot
Yep.
minimum.
Yep, that makes sense.
Alright. Any other questions or comments on this? No? And Don, you did a resolution for us on this? I thought I had printed it out, but of course I'm like going through here like this woman who's got stuff just thrown
No,
everywhere.
I
And I
can-
am.
I'm just looking at my comment.
I am.
The, is MRB satisfied with the, proposed driveway site distance? And you mentioned, someone had mentioned something about maybe consider a shared driveway. Are we okay with the way they're proposing it on the site analysis plan?
Yeah, I think there's there's no viability of like we put up that. You're not subdividing a lot that someone's gonna expect to be
Yeah.
buildable and it's not buildable, that's really the intent.
Right.
So I think we're showing minimum viability.
Gotcha. Yep, so there was distributed a proposed resolution.
Yep.
That would propose preliminary and final subdivision approval. There's a number of conditions, sounds like a lot of them have already been addressed, plotting the E-pods. That a wetland delineation would be required prior to development of the separated lot.
I mean, the wetlands are mapped, they're there, like, they're there. We did our own delineation and kind of showed them for our own delineation. It doesn't make sense to go too much further than that at this point until somebody.
So it doesn't age.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
age.
But you don't oppose
exactly.
putting a note on the map saying a wetland delineation is required prior to development.
No,
Okay.
that would be,
And then site plan approval will be required prior to future development. That should be a note.
got that.
And then just that any outstanding comments of the engineer and the building inspector shall be addressed. It looks like. Hopefully that's, looks like there's been a serious attempt there and you can confirm that with the parties that be. Other than that, it's pretty standard.
Someone like to make a motion that we approve the subdivision that is. That's what I'm talking about. That's it. All in favor? You are subdivided.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being so patient. and-
Yeah, that's what. You need it every year.
What's next, right? You never know.
Excellent. You bet.
Okay, next up on our agenda is general discussion. Do we have anything we would generally like to discuss?
Can I ask, y'all over here, with respect to next meeting, we have this application, it's a re-subdivision of a previously subdivided parcel. And I think there may have been a request for a letter of intent to explain the differences of the purpose, was that?
I believe,
requested?
yes, I believe I
Yes,
sent that over
I
to
did
you.
see that,
Yep.
that they, yes, I did see that they
I
did.
can send that over to you as well, Don.
Did they respond?
Yes,
Oh, good.
I did
Okay.
see that.
That was it.
Okay. All right, that's busy. And.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. All right, so our next meeting will be November 6th. We will have the Batterson subdivision phase 3 resubmit. I know, and Corey will, everybody will make we will diligently make sure that we have everyone's eyes on this to make sure that, there have been no changes that we are not aware of or that we were not aware of. I think one of the big concerns that I had with this was that, I wasn't sure why he was resubmitting it because it looked pretty straightforward. I knew he had wanted at one point to move forward and he wanted to, have some of the, some of the resolution kind of discarded, that he didn't want to do certain things that were there. And so my concern was that he would be making some of these changes, and then resubmitting so that he could get a different type of approval. So I want to make sure that what we're looking at, the big stuff that was in the resolution is still there and that nothing has been, removed from that.
Based on
or
his
changed.
updated letter of intent,
Yeah,
does it appear that things are relatively consistent?
it appears, I mean, from his letter.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's no real reason to think other than,
What's the stated purpose based on that updated letter of intent in general? To make that other lot bigger?
right, just to, what I could gather was to make that other lot a little bit bigger. I mean, I think it was a change. So I haven't really looked at it that thoroughly, but yeah, it was basically just to make that one lot a little bit bigger. And if that's all that it is, then
So
that's awesome.
Yep.
So, but we'll get eyes on that just to make sure. So, other than that, would someone like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting? Charlie, Teresa, all in favor? Any opposed? No, okay. Well, there we go. We did it again, everybody.